Hi my friends, today we are going to be looking at the new calibrated sculk sensor and how to actually calibrate it. Uh, it's a really cool change that Mojang added into 1.20, and there are 15 different calibrations you can set the sensors to, and I'm going to go through each one here on this video and show you how. I'll also in the description below leave a little chart for you guys to look at for quick reference. That way you don't have to go through this whole video each time you want to see it. You can just look at the chart below. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into them. Alright, so the easiest way to set these calibrations up is with the lectern, a 15-page book. As you can see, you're going to have here. You can literally just put a number or a letter or something on each page. You don't have to like write anything out. Make sure to sign it when you're good. You put a comparator into that, and then you leave the comparator into the amethyst side of the calibrated scope sensor. And so the first calibration is level 1. So that's a redstone level of 1, a movement through land, water, and air. So only movement through land, water, and air will cause this sensor to trigger. As you guys can see, the minecart, even though it's bouncing back and forth, does not cause this to trigger. However, if I let this sheep go and have it walk, there you go. As you can see, it's triggering it. So, and that will work for you, any sort of mobs or anything like that. It will trigger this. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at the second one. It's landing on any surface. So, obviously, that's you. It's also, I'm going to block like sand or gravel falls. As you can see, that triggers it. Or, when berries pop out the bush. Or, if you throw an item on the ground. I'm sure there's a couple more things that I missed here. But generally, it's landing and falling. So, this one isn't that much to go into. So, yeah, let's go ahead to the third one. Okay, so number 3 is item interactions. Basically, what this is throwing a trident, shooting a bow or a crossbow, throwing a snowball, an egg, firing off a rocket, throwing an ender pearl, fire charge, blowing a goat horn, or using a telescope. Uh, Again, I might have missed a couple of things here, but this is a pretty good list. Another cool thing about it is it will trigger if a dispenser does it too. So you've got all that working for you. It could be used for some interesting things, I think. Maybe for a fire rocket show, you could set this up that like it triggers when the first rocket goes off, another one goes off. I don't know. The thing that I'm most interested about is maybe using it for like a snowball throwing thing. But again, you know, you've got to experiment with it and find some cool stuff to do with it. Alright, number 4, I don't have anything set up. I'm not really going to show it to you. It is literally gliding with an elytra or unique mob reactions, such as the Ravager roar or the wolf shaking. So when a wolf or a dog gets in the water and it shakes off, it'll cause the number 4 to trigger. More likely than not, something that I thought would be really interesting to use with this is like if you have this base on the side of the mountain and you want to put this door that is only accessible by elytra, it this can actually sense you gliding towards it with the elytra. Open up the door, you glide in, you land, and after a few minutes, actually it's after a second, it will close the door. Could be used for some cool obstacle courses for elytra flying. So yeah, that's number 4. Meow. Number 5 is dismounting a mob or equipping gear. Uh, so you've got your horses. Get off one of those to send a signal. Get on the llama, dismounting, it'll send a signal. Uh, if this has boots inside of them. So hit that signal. Go ahead and put those back. If you get in and out, if you get out of a boat, there's a signal. It works on the new rafts as well. The one that I think is the coolest one is the minecart. When you dismount it, it sends a signal. So yeah, that's number 5. It's all about dismounting. I think it would be really cool if like you have this railroad and at the end of it you want the minecart to go back. So people, notorious for stealing minecarts, when they get off of the minecart and they get off, boom, it sends a signal and it sends the minecart back the way it came from. Alright, so number 6 is the opposite of number 5. It's mounting a mob or interacting with a mob. Um, the sheep here is not going to be a good thing, but if I go ahead and do that and grab some shears real quick and I shear it, boom, it sends a signal, which I think is pretty cool. Could be useful in a sheep farm. Haven't done that much experiments with it yet. There's also the whole entire thing. If we come over here and we get on the llama, get on the horse again, all this stuff will still signal over there. So yeah, it's mounting or interacting with a mob. So I like this one a lot. More useful in my opinion than the dismounting one a little bit, because more likely than not you'll have like a minecart sitting here, have this set on, and then boom, jump into my cart. My cart automatically goes off. No buttons, nothing else needed. So I like that a lot. Alright, number 7, mobs and players getting damage. So if I go ahead and quickly turn my game mode to survival, run into this a little bit, boom, boom, yep. As you can see, got a signal. Turn back to creative. Uh, Other than like maybe a mob farm that you want to see when a mob is in there getting damaged, I really don't see that many uses for this one. But hey, you guys out there might have an idea for it, so I'm looking forward to seeing some of that. Moving on to number 8, consuming items, drinking and eating. Now this is player specific. As you can see, I can feed this sheep all I want, and it's not going to trigger. But if I go ahead and grab a water bottle and drink that, it's gonna send a signal. So pretty nifty. Um, you know, I mean, you can set up a secret door for consuming items, drinking and eating them. Uh, I Again, it's a very niche thing to be going for. So, I mean, play around with it. You might have some other ideas. Like I said, I can think of a couple: secret door, maybe having a spot that you eat at constantly in your base, or throws food at you. I mean, there's some interesting ideas, I'm sure. Alright, so number 9, I'm actually really excited about, so let's go ahead and look at it. Blocks deactivating. Alright, as you can see, I have a lot of things around here that have deactivation, including a piston. But one of the cool things about this is that it works on more than just a piston. A door will trigger it when you close it. A trapdoor will trigger it when you close it. Same thing with gates, buttons, levers, pressure plates, and chests. So, like, all this stuff works towards it. And yeah, I actually think this will be coming in a lot of handy with some redstone. But we're going to just go ahead and move right on to the next one, because number 10 is blocks activating. So it's basically the same thing, just it's the startup of it. So when you open a door, it'll activate. When you open a trap door, it'll activate. And all this stuff works with it too. upon opening. The lever when you turn it on. So they're both really useful, I think. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of these being used more than most of the other ones. Alright, let's look at number 11. Blocks changing. The example given was adding food to a campfire, but it actually does a lot of stuff. I mean, turning an item in an item frame is one of them. Hoeing a land and it unhoeing itself is another one. Putting a music disc into a jukebox or taking it out. This is actually one of the ones that I think is most interesting. Adding items to composter doesn't, but anytime composter gains a level, it sends a signal. So the flowers actually here, nothing to do with flowers, to tell me that it actually will sense when a bee enters and exits a beehive. And here's another fun one. I mean, we all like parkour, right? In Minecraft. Every time your drip leaf changes, boom, signal. Another one is when berries grow. It actually, if you kill this and you do that each time the stages go, it will signal it. If you take water from a cauldron, it says a signal. I actually haven't tested this in the new snapshot, so let's go ahead and grab a bottle and a water bottle. So as you can see as I was removing it, but adding it does not. So yeah, that's what I was getting at. Putting food on a campfire, and as the food finishes off the campfire will trigger it. And glowberries. Uh, Whenever the glowberries grow berries on the vines, it will trigger. Stripping logs will trigger it. Another one that I found. Oh, putting a book on and off of a lectern will trigger it. So, but we gotta go into the nether to see the next one. So over here in the nether, I have a respawn anchor. And adding glowstone to the respawn anchor will trigger it. But when you die or respawn on it, it will not trigger it. I had a whole setup here to tell me if it triggered. It doesn't trigger it. Uh, so yeah, let's go back to the overworld real quick. And yeah, I really like this one. I think this one has a lot of fun interactions to it. So one of the things I forgot is lighting a candle will also trigger it. Alright, moving on to number 12 is pretty simple. It's blocks being destroyed. So anytime a block breaks, you break a block, it's going to send a signal, which actually ties very closely into number 13, which is blocks being placed. So as you can see, as you place blocks, it takes a signal. So um, natural generation, such as stone generators, I don't believe triggers these. I'll have to do some more tests on that, but I mean, there's some uses to this. One of the coolest ones I can think of here is having a stone generating, making a pillar up and down of like stone, and you come in and you mine out a stone block. The generator will fill it back in, but because you mined out that block, it'll signal it secret door, and you enter it. This one could be surrounded by wool, um, and you just have to place a block in a specific spot to trigger this. So, see, and have a secret door activate. You could do that. I'm sure there's other aspects to it, but nothing really game changing, I think, here. But I could be wrong. Alright, moving on to number 14. It's pretty simple. Mobs and players teleporting or spawning. Um, so, as we can see there, it no longer works with Ender Pearls, I see. But, let's go ahead and try with Chorus Fruit instead. because that should trigger it. There you go. So that's pretty interesting, and I thought this would be cool inside of a mob farm. Like if you built like a small little mob farm, as soon as the mob spawns, pushes it off, clears out the mob cap really quickly. You know, if you're not trying to build something gigantic, this could be kind of useful. But yeah, I like it a lot. You could also set it up in spawn, you know, just in case, you know, you have a group of people and you want to be nice and like a player dies and they respawn and spawn and all their stuff is of course thousands of blocks away. Have this set up with a little dispenser and poof, pops up a little goodie box to help them go retrieve their stuff. So I mean there's some neat little things you could do with this. Alright, number 15. Mobs and players dying or an explosion. Alright, so basically if me or something else dies near this, which I can quickly demonstrate with a spawn egg. I don't want to kill any of those. That just seems mean. Let's go ahead and kill a magma cube. Because that makes sense in the overworld. Alright, so, you know, magma cube died, it triggered. So, obviously, it's like the first use that most people are going to probably think of is, hey, this would be really useful inside of a mob farm. But there is a second feature to it, which I'm exploring right now, which is got to do with explosions. So if you set off some TNT and it goes boom, it'll send a trigger. A lot of farms run off of TNT and they've got this huge loop to prevent the TNT from dropping. Um, Quite frankly, I think if you have it up there within 16 blocks, this can sense that explosion, only sense explosion, or if for some reason you or something else dies near your tree farm, and then it'll trigger the dispenser and drop another TNT. I think it can clean up a lot of messes around the top of like tree farms and such. So, you know, it's an option. It's not necessarily something that I've explored into much, but yeah, I think that would be a pretty cool idea and use of this because the only things that will trigger this is anything dying or an explosion. So, alright, my friends, that's all I have from me out for you guys. Uh, I hope you enjoyed this video. Um, I'm going to be doing some more testing of the things I showed you today and probably go more in depth on some of these. And when I do, I will definitely be making this into a playlist. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see some more, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff really helps me out. Have a good day. Bye.